So, like I've stated earlier, we are going to do a Miami campus spotlight. So, some things to just go over and just some housekeeping rules of what is Northeastern. So, Northeastern is the top ranked R1 research and experiential learning university. Something you'll hear from myself as well as other members at Northeastern is experiential learning. It is something that we're proud of. It's our flagship, and I call it our very common, famous hashtag because we have it on everything you'll see. As well, we're number one ranked in co-op and internships. Our co-op numbers continue to keep increasing, which is great, as well as our partnerships. So we have co-ops available at all of our campuses, as well as majority or all of our programs. Within Northeastern University, we have 10 colleges and schools. So just outside of just the College of Engineering, there's other colleges that are also part of it. And we have over 50,000 students. So you'll see something in a later slide is College of Engineering makes up 1/3 of the student population at Northeastern University. So we're really excited to have such a large student body and organization within it. And then we have everything from MS all the way to doctorate degrees, which we'll also discuss, as well as since we are an R1 experiential research school, there are multiple scholarships and research funds that we have available. So currently, we're looking at $296 million of external research awards. And within our network, we have 13 campuses. So just what it looks like on the large scale of things, what we have our global university system. Out of all of these 13 campuses, 9 of them are College of Engineering related, which means we have programs at all of them. So like we've stated earlier, our little Miami campus is right here, which has great views and always pleasant weather compared to where I am currently in Boston. So what does that look like and what is the College of Engineering? So like I stated, we have 10,000 student body, which is 1/3 of the population on campus, and our graduates population is probably one of the largest. MS makes up about 68%, which you'll see there. And then we also have multiple ranking and research rate. Don't definitely want for you to have a look at. And then we've been ranked best 34 engineering school for graduate students, and then 35 for undergrad students. And this is our academic program. So focusing on Miami, Miami has 2 programs currently, which is Information Systems and Information Systems Bridge, and those are available to students. The difference is the Bridge program is for students that don't have a technical math or science background that want to go into the industry. So that's just something that we like to clarify early on. Now, within the college, we have over 32 MS degree programs, and that does not mean that we won't have more programs being launched in Miami. And then without further ado, I'd like to pass it on to Nick.
Thank you, Harsh, and welcome everybody. As Harsh mentioned, my name is Nick Remarco. I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment Enrollment for Northeastern University, based out of the Miami campus. When it comes to the Miami campus, I am the second longest tenured employee. So I've been around since before the campus was built. I've been able to stay with the university long enough to watch our campus be built, watch our first cohort, our first year, going into this upcoming semester, watching our first students go on co-op, and at the end of the year, being able to watch our first group of students from Miami graduate. So I'm very privileged and pleased to be part of this session to give you guys some information on our campus, our offerings, and the surrounding area. Now, Miami is a little different than most cities. We are the ninth largest city in the country when it comes to residents. We have a little bit over 6 million residents. The demographics, 45.9% of adults in Miami are Hispanic, whereas only about 30% identify as white, and so on and so forth. Our economic indicators, and this is something that I like to highlight because if you do come to Miami, only 13% of adults in Miami have an advanced degree. That includes an MS or a doctoral. So if you come to Northeastern and you get your MS degree in information systems or even the bridge, you put yourself in that higher echelon of adults in the workforce looking for jobs, looking to advance their careers that have an advanced degree. A lot of other cities, that number is closer to the 20-25% mark, but in Miami, it's only 13%. Even a bachelor's degree, most cities are closer to 50%, and Miami's only about 34%. So when you get those degrees, you put yourself in an advantageous position to be able to get a better job, get better pay because you're part of only the 13% that has a master's degree. When you talk about Miami, there's Miami-Dade, which is the numbers I just went over, and then there's the city of Miami. The city of Miami is about 450,000 residents right now. Another interesting economic indicator is almost 60% of Miami, city of Miami residents are foreign born, which means only about 40% of residents in Miami were born in the United States. So when we talk about the cultures of Miami, people coming from all over the world to live, to study, to work. Um, we have just about every kind of nationality you could think of here. So it is very welcoming to people from different backgrounds, religion, nationalities, because of that. The reason Northeastern came to Miami, Northeastern does a great job of identifying major cities that have large employment gaps or employment needs. It's hard to say gaps, but more so an employment need. That's how we decide what programs we're going to bring to those cities. So when you look at an engineering degree, a degree in information systems, why bring information systems in that degree to Miami? Well, the answer is right in front of you. We're number one for tech job growth, which means more jobs in the tech fields are created in Miami than any other city in the country. We're number one for tech job migration, which the difference between those means that those jobs existed, but those companies are moving their headquarters from other cities to Miami. Some of that may be due to the climate and cost, but really what it is there has been this boom in technology in Miami. It's become a huge hub for tech, and that's why a lot of companies are starting to move or create their headquarters in Miami. Almost 25% of jobs available in Miami are technical service jobs, you know. And so when we started to build partnerships in Miami, we started to look in areas like cruise lines. Well, why cruise lines? Because cruise lines, are thought more of hospitality and tourism. But Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines is one of the biggest employers for engineers in the country. So we started building relationships with those, and there's Miami is number one for it's the cruise capital of the United States. So there's plenty of reasons why, but the main reason why is because it's more advantageous for students to be in an area where they're getting their degree and there's plenty jobs available. It allows us to help you push forward and get a job and get a career as opposed to a place where there's an oversaturation of those students and not enough jobs. Even though Northeastern is new in Miami, I've been here 2.5 years. We just finished our first year of on-ground classes. Due to the amount of students that have graduated from Northeastern from other places, we have about 11,500, close to 12,000 alumni in the state of Florida. That gives you a huge database of people that you can reach out to when it comes time for mentorship, when it comes time for you to do your co-op. We have about 12,000 alum. You know, and I mentioned earlier, Miami is the cruise capital of the world. So we're the headquarters for Carnival Cruise Lines, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and Norwegian Cruise Lines. So people think of that and they're like, oh, well, hospitality degrees would be ideal. But for us, when we look at the amount of engineering and tech jobs that these cruise lines hire, this was a big partner for us. It was the cruise lines. So when Northeastern came to Miami, there were certain areas they looked at, and we settled on Wynwood. And when I say settled, I don't mean that in a disappointing way. I mean that it was a very exciting opportunity for us to go to Wynwood. I've grown up in Miami, and Wynwood has always been considered the art district, as you can see by these pictures. All of our buildings are spray painted murals. It's art museums everywhere, shops everywhere. But over the last 5 or 6 years, we've noticed that there's been a lot of venture capitalist companies that have moved their headquarters there, finance companies, tech companies. One is because the cost is a little bit less than going to an area like downtown Miami, which are all high rises. But it also has opened up the market to people that may not feel comfortable just going around downtown. It's a different group of people and it's a different vibe. There's a lot of parties going on. There's a lot of events. When you talk about Art Basel in Miami, it happens in Wynwood. When you talk about restaurants and where people want to go to eat, it's Wynwood. So a lot of companies have moved their offices out of the Brickell and downtown areas of Miami, and into Wynwood because of the eclectic nature of the neighborhood. The Miami campus. Now, I'm going to preface this that this is our building. You see, it's 9 stories high, but we don't own this whole building. We own the fifth floor of this building. So this is a building called the Cube. We own the fifth floor and we have offices on the third floor. So I like to show this slide so you can kind of see what the building looks like, but also explain to you how we keep you safe when it's a shared building. In order to get into the building, you need an app. That app on your phone or the key card that they give you gives you access to the front door. That app also works through Bluetooth. So when you go in the elevator, it only allows you to press the buttons in the elevator that you have access to. Only Northeastern students, faculty, and staff have access to the fifth floor. So if you're not part of that community, you step in the elevator and you try to press 5 and the elevator won't move, the light won't turn on. As a Northeastern student, if you try to press 4 or 7, the light won't turn on. You can only go to 5. Once you get off on the fifth floor, the only thing you'll see is our Northeastern University campus. You need your Husky ID to get into the front door. You scan that, the door opens, and I have a picture of what that looks like. And once you come in through the front door, you think you're done, but we have a security guard sitting at the front door where you just have to flash your Husky ID. This is a way to make sure that even if somebody follows you off the elevator, because it is a shared building, they may just not be paying attention and they come off on the fifth floor. As soon as they walk behind you on our campus and our security guard sees they don't have a Husky ID, they will remove them from campus and send them back down the elevator. So we have about 3 or 4 different touch points. It may seem frustrating, but it's very quick because everything is done either through your phone or through a key card, and it gets you right in, but it's our way of making sure you're safe. Now, in Miami, I will say that mass transit, public transportation is not ideal. It is not as plentiful as you'll see in other places. But this is one of the few locations where you can get around with some public transportation. The trolley, the bus, our Metro Rail, Metro Mover. So you can live a little bit outside of campus and still get there with public transit. As a Northeastern student, we do offer 50% off of those services. But I do recommend when it comes to housing, and I'll share some housing ideas later, that you live close to campus. We have 4 partners that are less than a 5-minute walk from campus, which allows you to walk back and forth from campus, and everything you need is in Wynwood. So this is the front door. As you can see, the elevators to the left and right where those 1 and 2 buttons are. So as soon as you come off, the only thing that's here is our campus. In order to go through those glass doors in front of you, there is a key card system that you need to use to come in. So as you see, this is right off the elevators, and it's the only thing on the 5th floor. Once you're inside, to the right in front of you, that's where the security guard sits. As you can see, we have our little Husky that we have at the front, Paws. He greets all of our students when they come in. This is a shared open area. We call this kind of our lounge area where students can come hang out. Our staff, I work from up there, so you'll see me around campus all the time. But this is just an open seating area, and directly in front of you is our biggest classroom. So that classroom is actually 2 classrooms with an air wall in the middle. They're symmetrical. When the air wall is closed, we can have up to 48 students in each room. If the air walls are open, we can have our capacity up to 128. The reason we do this is we use this room to also host companies that are hosting conferences, events. They love to use this room. We make it a requirement for anybody using a room on our campus that they have to open their event up to our students for networking purposes, for developmental purposes. So if somebody is using our campus, our students have access to be able to meet with them, talk to them. If they have a private meeting, we'll close the doors for that, but we'll make sure they open it back up for some networking. This is the other side. So again, as soon as you walk in, that's the open seating area. You see the security desk to the right of you. And then to the left is the kitchen. I'll get to that on one of the next slides. So as soon as you walk through the front doors, this is what it looks like from the other end. So you see the security desk there. You also see some lockers. Those are free. We have 18 lockers that are free for students to use. You put in your code, and the reason we have lockers is a lot of our students will come to campus early, well before classes to study. Then they'll want to go walk around Wynwood, get something to eat, and come back. You can leave your stuff in those lockers. During class, a lot of students will bring their laptops, bring stuff. They can use those lockers for the day, and It's like I said, it's completely free, and we have another seating area. You can also see by some of the murals that we've gone with a very tropical design of our campus. You're going to see a lot of tropical colors, the greens, the yellows, the pinks, the blues. We wanted to make sure everything is very Miami feel. You'll also see a lot of plants on our campus. They're all real because we want you to get the feel of being in Miami. This is two of our three conference rooms. The reason I wanted to show this slide is we have three conference rooms that are also available to students. We make the process very easy. You see little green iPads or iPads with a green background on those conference rooms. There's a QR code. You scan that QR code and you can book it for free for up to 3 hours. If you want to book it in advance, we have a system called Robin. You go in, you log in, and you can book it for up to 3 hours. That gives you a private area where you and your fellow classmates can meet, or you can kind of work on your own. All these rooms come equipped with a TV. If you want to like do a Zoom meeting or a team meeting and use the TV instead of your laptop for the meeting, all you have to do is invite the room to your team's meeting, and now you can use the TV. This is our kitchen area, again, available and open to all students. So we have two microwaves, we have a sink, we have a refrigerator, we have plates, we have cups. I don't know if I have a picture of it, but we also have a cold and hot water filter machine, and we have a coffee, tea, and hot chocolate machine that are free for all students. So when you come to campus, if you want a cup of coffee, it's 93 degrees today, so I don't anticipate many people drinking hot chocolate. But if you want coffee or tea, we have Northeastern mugs. They're free, coffee, tea, free. All we ask is that when you're done, you put everything in the dishwasher, and our operations team runs the dishwasher every night and puts everything back. I think you guys are a little bit spoiled when you come here because we do the dishes for you. We provide all of this for you, but it's just something we do to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. This area is an open study area. So this is where we expect um, groups to come and meet and go over projects. There is a TV here as well, so you can share your presentation or whatever it is to the TV, and all of you work here together. These desks come with about 6 to 8 power outlets, so you can all plug in and charge. And we expect this area to be, I don't want to say noisy because we don't want people screaming, but this is kind of a place where you meet together and can chit chat and talk and not be interrupted. This is the big classroom I told you about. If you notice, all the chairs and tables come equipped with wheels. We do that because we can do any configuration in this room. We'll close the air wall and we'll go standard each desk with 4 chairs. Here you'll see we've kind of combined them a little bit more. When some of these companies come in, they want just like theater style seating. So this gives our ops team a chance to move things around. Each room comes equipped with 2 whiteboards and a TV, and then another TV in the back. They're completely symmetrical. Now, this area is the opposite of the other area I showed you. This is our quiet area. This is where we expect very little noise. Each of these desks have changed a little bit. We have a second screen, a keyboard, and a mouse. All you have to do is plug in your laptop. But this is more of an area that if you're in a meeting that you're just tuning into and you have your headphones in, or if you're studying and you want to be in a quiet area, this is more of like that library feel where we don't want anybody meeting. We don't want any conversations. This is the quiet zone. And all those desks come up and come down. So you can stand up and work. You can raise those desks up and down. And this little phone booth here is an even more quiet area because it's a sound resistant phone booth where you can plug in your laptop, sit and work. It's not soundproof. I've played that trick on people a few times and told them it's soundproof to scream as loud as they want. We can hear you when you scream. It's just kind of my hazing ritual to people that want to use the room. Scream as loud as you want, and then people hear them scream. It's sound resistant, so if you're in a Zoom meeting, if you're in a meeting kind of like this and there's some audio, you can go in there and it's sound resistant. This is our third conference room, so again, you can scan that and use that at your leisure. One other thing we have on our campus, well, two other things that we have on our campus. We have a multi-faith room. We used to call it the prayer room, but to be sensitive to all religions, it's now called the multi-faith room. That's one that you can go in, lock the door for up to 20 minutes. We have the feet cleaning station. We have a lot of books of worship in there. We have like the yoga mats. Anything you need to feel comfortable before or after class, we have in there. We also have what we call the wellness room. We used to call it the lactation room. It was for recent mothers that needed to maybe pump milk or feed. But we don't have any of those on campus, so we've kind of flipped it around to being more of a wellness room right now where people can go meditate, just sit and relax. It's very pretty, very quiet. And again, you can't reserve it ahead of time, but once you go in and lock the door, the iPad on the door turns red so people know somebody's in there. Now, when I talked about mass transit earlier, the to the left, upper left is the Wynwood Trolley. It's a bus that takes you through Wynwood. The bottom left is the Metro Mover. That thing just rotates in circles around the downtown Wynwood area. And then to the right is the one actual mode of transportation that can get you about 15 miles going north and south, which is our Metro Rail. All of these we have student, employee, and faculty discounts. With your Northeastern ID, you get 50% off. So if you're not living close to campus, we can help you get set up with public transit. This is a good overhead view of what Wynwood looks like. Our campus is right next to that big Wynwood 25 station. Wynwood 25 is an apartment building, which I can see from our conference rooms. We also have I-5 Wynwood and a few other housing developments that are right next to us that I recommend. Below campus, you'll see Wynwood Lofts. We have a relationship with them as well. So our campus is kind of sandwiched between Wynwood Lofts and Wynwood 25. We're adjacent to the little sign that says Koyo, that's Koyo Taco, and our building is right next to it. The reason I like to show this area so you can see how centrally located Wynwood is, we're 6 miles from Miami International Airport, right? So if you fly in, we're only a 6 mile Uber ride. If you need to leave, again, we're only a 6 mile Uber ride to Miami International Airport. We're about a mile and a half from the shops of Midtown. Those are very expensive designer shops. I don't belong anywhere near there. You're talking about the kind of Rodeo Drive feel. They don't even let me in the shops. As soon as they see me walking up, I can hear the doors locked from the inside because they know I'm not buying anything. I just want to look bougie. So they don't let me anywhere near them. The American Airlines Arena, which is now the Kaseya Center where the Heat play, 2.5 miles away. Now, the question I get all the time, and I'm going to answer it for you guys. Yes, we're close to Miami Beach. Yes, we're close to South Beach. We are not walking distance unless you're a crazy person and you want to walk along the causeway, which I don't recommend at all. But we're only about 5 miles from Miami Beach. During non-traffic times, it's a 10-minute drive there. During traffic times, it's about a 6-hour drive there because there's only one way in and one way out, and it's that bridge. And I exaggerate. If you're coming from our campus and it's traffic time, you're talking 30, 45 minutes, but it just feels like forever because the cars don't move. So we're only about 5 miles from Miami Beach, which is great for our students because there are a lot of major events that happen there. And while there's no public transit that goes to Miami Beach, a couple of our students will share a $10 to $15 Uber to get over there, which it ends up being cheaper because it costs about $20, $25 to park your car anywhere on Miami Beach. But yes, we are very, very, very close. Some of the things I like to point out about our area is we're very close to many art museums and facilities. Wynwood Walls, our students get a discount at the Wynwood Walls. It is an outdoor mural-based museum. It's about an hour and a half walk around, walk inside. There's Super Blue Museum, which is again about a 10-minute walk from our campus. Another place that we have a discount to where students can go in. Those are more technology-driven art museums where the artists will create designs, but they use technology to bring those designs to life. One of the things I like at Super Blue is they have 1,000 of these light bulbs, and you put your hand on it, and it imitates the pulse. You put your hand on the screen, and it gets your pulse, and then one of the light bulbs will continue to flicker at the pulse of your heartbeat, and that light bulb belongs to you for 1,000 go rounds until each of them have been assigned, and then it gets back to yours. So you can sit there and that light continues to beat at the pulse that you created. Another museum we have nearby is Paradox Museum. That's one that's more optical illusions, but all of these are close by and great events for our students to go to. Here's one of our housing partners, I-5 Wynwood. The reason I like to highlight I-5 is it is probably the most economical of our housing partners. They give Northeastern students a 15% discount, but what they do is if you sign a year-long lease, they give you 3 months free. So you get 25% off. These are all shared units. So they're three-bedroom apartments. Each person gets their own master bedroom that has a bed, a desk, and a private bathroom, a dresser, cabinets, all of that stuff. There is a common area between the three bedrooms that comes with a TV, living room, kitchen, washer, dryer. So they don't do single units. It gives you more of that dorm room feel. The reason I like them is they have amenities like a gym, a pool, restaurant, a library on site, and then you have a digital key. So when you leave your room, your roommates can't just walk into your room. It's just like an apartment. You have a digital key. It's less than a 5 minute walk from campus, and it's probably the most economical. We go all the way to, one of our housing partners have studios and one-ones, but that ends up being double the cost of staying here. So a lot of our students prefer to stay at an area like this and just do the shared bedrooms. Now, my favorite topic, food. This is where I love going to campus because just within the block that our campus is on, which is a 3 block area, you got Panther Coffee. So if you don't want to eat, you don't want to drink the Northeastern coffee and you want a different kind of brew, we're adjacent to Panther Coffee and Koyo Taco. My favorite, Skinny Louie Smash Burgers, a 1 minute walk from campus. This has become a very popular spot to where they've opened up a second smash burger place. Zach the Baker, fresh baked bread. I take advantage of this promo they have because I have a mango tree at my house. If you bring in 8 mangoes, they give you a free loaf of fresh baked sourdough bread. So it's a nice little trade-off. Uchi, one of the most popular sushi places in the world. Now they're only open at night, but they're on the same block as our campus. We also have Le Chick, which is a burger spot. We have a Mediterranean place right next to us. We have a Jamaican place called Dunkano. This is all on our street, by the way. This isn't even like blocks and blocks away. It's right on our street. We have Doya, which is a Greek restaurant. We have an arepa spot called Doggies, and that's like half the restaurants that are just on our street. And then Wynwood is 15 more of these streets of just restaurants. So you can live here for 2 years and still only eat at half the restaurants in Wynwood. But my favorite, the next slide, Joe's Pizza. So Joe's Pizza, I go to campus twice a week and I probably eat here once or twice a week. It is the best pizza I think I've ever had in my life. Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, if you're familiar with him, he does his pizza series, One Bite, Everybody Knows the Rules. He came, he took a bite, and he rated it an 8.2, which for him, most of his ratings are in the 6 range. So for him to give it an 8.2 out of 10 tells you how good it is. Now, it is a New York-based pizza place, but it is incredible. And sandwiched next to it are all these dessert places. So you get some pizza, then you come out and get some ice cream or some different desserts that we have there. Now, what else can you do while you're in Miami? I've gone over so much, and I'm sorry that I'm a chatterbox. I keep talking and talking, but there's so much going on in Miami for you to be excited about, and sports is another one. Miami is one of the few cities in the United States that has what we consider the four major sports in America, which is baseball, basketball, football, hockey. But then we also have a professional soccer team. So we're one of the few that has five: LA, New York, Boston, Chicago, and there may be one or two others. I think Dallas that actually has all these sports. So there's year-round sports. Right now we're in baseball season. Football season is about to start. Soccer season goes on pretty much year round. Not to mention we have Messi, and some of the best soccer players in the world that are in our Miami squad. They're building a new stadium which will be ready for next year. The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup championship 2 years in a row, and we have the Miami Heat. So if you're a sports fan, we have sports year round. The Heat Arena, like I said, is only about 2.5 miles from us. The Marlins Stadium's probably a little bit less than that. Inter Miami, once their stadium's done, they'll be about 2.5 miles from us. Panthers and Dolphins are much further north, but all these are very obtainable for you. And then my last slide, some of the other attractions, I've mentioned some of the museums we have. The picture you see, the big one is Super Blue Miami, but we also have things like the Miami Symphony. We have a cultural arts center that's got plays going on year round. Um, there's so much to do in Miami that everything seems busy, but everybody's always going different places because there's so much to do. And all these are very close to you. I haven't even gotten into Brickell, which is a big party scene that's close to us. I haven't gotten much into the beach, but all of that is right by you. And with that, I'm gonna turn it back over to Harsh to take us home.
Thanks, Nick. I don't know about anybody else, but I think I'm ready to leave Boston and come down because free coffee and no one and people wash your mugs for you, that's even better. We don't even have that option here. So, but like Nick said, Miami is great. I have been fortunate to be part of the journey with him. So I have seen the campus come to life and I've seen how great Wynwood is itself. And I do agree, Joe's is the best pizza in the world. I'm originally a New Yorker and we just opened Joe's in Boston and it's my go-to spot when I'm just miss home. So what are your next steps and how can you get to the Miami campus? So first and foremost is to connect with ambassadors that we have. So we have student ambassadors across the board, and they're a great tool to use if you have any questions. So like having questions about your program, having questions about student life, faculty members, also just like how Nick discussed housing. You could definitely talk to student ambassadors about the housing process because they have been in your shoes. And I'm sure you get tired of talking to myself or Nick or other members on the team. They're a great resource and tool, and we highly encourage you to use them. And they're very social and they're very active on all social media platforms as well. So definitely connect with them. You could also email them at the COE ambassador at northeastern.edu. And like I said earlier, they are around the clock team. So our ambassadors are always up and ready to answer any questions you have. Outside of that, what does the application look like for you? So our fall applications have not opened yet, but they will be available and they will open up towards the end of the month as well as beginning of the start of September. So these are just additional deadlines that you guys should be aware of. So like for any PhD, I know there are some PhD students that joined us today. The for all PhD applications is December 1st. Currently at the moment, our Miami campus does not have PhD programs. All of our PhD programs are specifically in Boston, and then we have some in our another campus in Oakland. But for MS priority deadline is January 15th. And then if you are an international student, you do have more time, but we highly encourage you not to wait to the last minute to submit your application. You want to submit it as soon as possible. And then, of course, there are some still opportunities for the spring application as well. And then what do we require? So if you are a master's student, so what that is an MS student applying for a program within College of Engineering, there is no application fee at this time. So you do save the application fee, but we do require 2 letters of recommendation, unofficial transcripts, a statement of purpose, your resume, and Jerry's are optional. We don't require it, so you don't have to submit them. But if you do decide to submit them and you click you will submit and then you decide that you won't submit it, unfortunately, you can't go back in the application. You do have to move forward with submitting them. So just be mindful of that. And then if you are from a region that does require English proficiency scores, we do accept IELTS, TOEFLs, and Duolingos. And then, of course, a scholarship opportunity is available for all students. So you are eligible for a 25% regional campus scholarship. So if you are applying for the Miami campus, you will be offered a 25%. So if you haven't applied for, let's say, the spring, you still have an opportunity to apply for spring 2026 to be eligible for this scholarship. And then, of course, if you're receiving additional scholarships from the university, you are allowed to stack on them, but they just cannot exceed more than 50%. And then lastly, how to be in touch with us. We are, like I stated earlier, all around the board. We also have an admissions inbox team. So if you have more admissions related questions, you could definitely email us at coe-gradadmissions@northeastern.edu. And then these are multiple links that you also have been emailed about, which are ways to connect with us for future events, where we're going to be in the future. So you can even meet with myself and Nick in person. at one of these conferences or recruiting events that we attend outside of the virtual world. So without that being said, I like to open up the floor. I definitely been answering some questions coming in, so we appreciate that, but definitely ask us any questions you have. For any students that have PhD specific questions, I am going to ask you to email our admissions inbox. We do have a PhD recruiting specialist that will answer those questions that you have. I think Nick, you did a great job showcasing your campus, that there's that much questions coming in. But
I
I
just
have
think they got tired of hearing my voice.
but I have a question for you. So since your time at the campus and how it's been live, what is one of your most favorite like I guess place or part of the campus that you like love the
Well,
most?
I'm going to talk about a memory I have. Right before we started the construction, it took a while to get the construction started. Um, and this will help answer that question. Right before we got the construction started, which was a labor of love, they showed us what they were going to do. They brought us there and they're like, now nobody can come back to campus for a few months because we are doing construction. I asked the head of the demolition crew if everybody on our team could take a sledgehammer and just put a hole in the wall that they were going to tear down. And he gave us all hard hats, vests, and he gave us a sledgehammer. And everybody on the campus took that sledgehammer and put a hole in the wall, and we signed our name next to the hole and took a picture of it. So that new wall is the back of one of our conference rooms. So every day I go and I look in that conference room and I see the new wall that's up, which was came from the wall that we all as a team got to put a hole through. And it kind of reminds me of how the campus started and where it's at now. As far as favorite places on campus, I mean, I love hanging out because we don't have offices. A lot of our staff sits in the common area together and works together, and it becomes a great collaborative space. And since I spend a lot of time on the road and traveling, it's my time to kind of spend a little bit of time with my friends at work. And at the same time, we get to see our students come in and greet them. So right by that front door is my favorite place on campus.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. And that's really cool. You get to like break down walls.
Our dean had said no at first. She's like, I don't think it's safe. So then I asked the guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you guys helmets. I'll give you safety goggles. I'll give you vests. I'll give you everything. Go ahead, knock that wall down for us if you want." So I don't think people realized how heavy a sledgehammer really is until they tried to pick it up and swing it. And we saw some little sad, pathetic dents in the wall. But as we figured it out, it's one of my favorite pictures.
That's awesome. So a very common question is scholarship. So I will say that all students, when you apply to the university, you are reviewed for an academic scholarship. Those vary across the board. And then, of course, I know there were some other additional questions. So our PhD programs are fully funded routes, but for MS, there are scholarships that you will be eligible for, and that the university will look at you for that piece. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. So I appreciate everyone that has joined us today. And Nick, thank you for joining us and sharing your wealth of knowledge about Miami and all the fun life about it, because you have me very tempted to like come down there very soon. So hopefully I'll see you
You're
on the
welcome. You're welcome anytime, Harsh, to come down. And thank you all for joining and listening to me ramble about Miami. We're all very passionate about your guys' education and where you end up. So thank you all for just listening and giving Miami a chance. And thank you again, Harsh, for inviting me and allowing me to participate in this session.
Perfect. Thank you so much again. And for everyone that joined us, stay in touch with us and we'll also stay in touch with you. Take care, everyone.